through your questions. Yes, those usually occur on a Saturday or Sunday down at the center in North Branford. And if you go on, we're on Instagram, Facebook, follow Burn and Learn CT. It's Burn and Learn CT. All our classes are there. You can sign up through there for the glass blowing class. You're welcome.
Go ahead. No, we don't operate on any in the public arena, like with certification or anything along those lines. It's simply for educational purposes. I know, for example, like very often one of the most common questions I get is for pain. And I know that there's several of the panelists who use cannabis for pain. What strain and how did you find it? Which one helped you the most?
Oh boy, edibles wind up being probably better for pain for myself. I've been in multiple motorcycle accidents, car accidents. I was on LifeStar. I'm lucky to actually be alive, never mind walking at this point in time. I've had 3 different disc replacements, and I've used cannabis every time instead of opiates. But before I forget about with the classes, most cannabis classes are not accredited. University of New Haven is doing a very expensive classes, and they are not accredited at all. They're just classes.
The only type of accredited courses that would be at university would be like a horticulture course that would be teaching just overall all plants. So they do have those type of bachelor's and associate degrees out there for that. But as far as courses go, just getting general knowledge of the wonderful plant, I think we're the schools are good.
Also, just want to say that it's not so much just about the classes in general, even though we have a huge arrangement of different classes that you can do. It's a center about really diversity, welcoming all from all different types of religion, men, women. We have people that join us with their like grandmothers coming in with their grandchildren and learning together. It's really awesome to see somebody that's 70 years old starting to learn that the medications they take out of a bottle might not be the best thing compared to something that's growing and available to all of us, and sharing in that with both their family members and the community as a whole. It's nothing that I've ever seen in a diversity type of group, to be in a room with so many people that have a love for a plant. And we're all different in so many different ways, and we come together for that community. So one night at the Burn and Learn Center, discussing our plans for future arrangements, we kind of just came up with a slogan: it's just a thing. And that's what it is. It's just a thing that brought us all together from all different walks of life. And we're trying to create a community that can be proud of what we're doing and know that me, as a mom of 5, I don't drink alcohol. I have degenerative disc disease, and I've struggled with holding my toddler, and cannabis helps. And sharing in that and changing people's perspective on that is amazing. And that's what we're doing.
And Jen, I'd like to thank you for actually sharing your own experiences with that, because not everybody can actually just come out and talk to other people about what their pain problems. A lot of people just keep that on the inside and don't let it out. But once you actually talk to other people and you're like, oh, I'm not the only one, it really opens up a whole nother world.
And it's not just physical either. It's having support groups at the center. It's having PTSD meetings for people to come and talk and share their feelings. It's the Women's Night on Wednesday, where we crafted. And honestly, we made masks, and it was great. It was relaxing, it was peaceful, and it was probably the best couple hours of my week. And it was just coming together on a woman's night, doing a PTSD meeting for people who have those issues. It's a pain issue. It's addressing all sorts of things and giving people a safe spot to come. We've had so many messages of the best night of sleep I've ever had in 10 years. It's been somebody saying that they went through a horrible divorce and this was the first place that they felt comfortable hanging out. It's just a thing. And we're just trying to embrace it.
So what is your favorite strain? All right, go ahead.
Wedding cake. It's all time great for pain and sleep. It's amazing.
I like Durban Poison.
Any of you guys? Anything you guys want to share? Anything that the cannabis community has brought to you guys?
Any success stories that you guys personally have, maybe that you would like to share how cannabis helped your life?
What do you guys want to know? Like, it's a panel discussion, so just have at it.
Yeah, we'll answer anything. I'm an open book. I'll talk about anything for the most part. I have 5 kids. Nothing scares me.
Well, I can share a little bit about myself. So when I was in high school, I got treated like, honestly, like I was Pablo Escobar. Not gonna lie. I didn't even sell weed in high school. I don't sell weed now. The thing is, I used it as medicine, and I got ripped out of my senior prom. 4.5 hours later, after I ate my meal, by the Valley Street Crime Unit, because I had 2 little dime bags of haze in my car that they see me throw a blunt wrap out my window, because they were apparently following. That was good and all, right? But that's good for an 18-year-old to go through and deal with it when he has a whole life ahead of him. And I had to deal with that in my life. I told my fellow peers and my fellow teachers that I use it as medicine, and I always will use it as medicine. And I'm honored to be here today, to be speaking in front of all you guys, because it was a very hard and traumatic thing for a young man to go through. I didn't go to jail for it or anything, but still, I was supposed to be going to college. I was supposed to be going to do things like that, not getting arrested in senior prom for 2 bags of haze that I used for medicine. So that's why I'm here today, and that's why I serve my purpose every single day of my life, because I don't want anybody to be treated that way. Nobody should be treated that way for enjoying a plant, enjoying something that's naturally grown out of the ground. And maybe it doesn't benefit you, maybe it's not for you, but I know it's for me. And that's just a little bit of my story. I use it for pain. That's the main reason why I use it. I was a football player my whole life. I have degenerative disc as well in my neck, where my discs are deteriorating at an earlier rate than, that's something that's supposed to happen in your late 60s, early 70s. Unfortunately, it's happening for me now. I was also born with an arachnoid cyst in my head that makes me have daily chronic headaches. So I get very bad migraines. And like I said, it truly is God's gift, in my opinion, as far as just overall well-being in society. And that's my success story. I never gave up on how I felt about the plant.
That's definitely what, am I on? Yeah. That's definitely one thing I would encourage you guys to do. Obviously I use cannabis for anxiety because I get nervous. And you guys all are just amazing. Thank you. Is get involved in activism. I had always been a closet pothead. I'm seriously, come on. You please tell me that like you guys all know like one closet pothead. Like I was nervous about people finding out. I was embarrassed. And as I changed and as I embraced what I was doing, it opened up so much. But one thing that I always wish, and I still am encouraging you guys to do, is get involved in the activism. This is medicine. It's part of the earth. No one needs to be prosecuted for it. So please, there's amazing organizations that are very organized, and that's their sole structure. So please, please, it's something that I know I'm personally committed to doing. So I really want to encourage you guys to do it. It takes a group to make a change. And, you know, we started just on a small scale, and it's magical. It's like the energy and everything is just unbelievable. But I think that the activism end of it really needs to be like a center focus.
We definitely
Because the
need to
fight's not
try
over.
to break the stigma too with marijuana. People think you're lazy, you know, you just sit around and don't do anything all day. I've worked for the same healthcare system for 17 years. I've had my medical card since 2019.
She's a grower as well.
I grow my own medication. I take care of my home. I pay my mortgage by myself. I take care of my children. I originally got it for PTSD, but in 2020, I had COVID early, like April 2020, and I developed a lot of long haul symptoms. Actually went through a thing where I was in so much pain I couldn't sleep. I get IVIG infusions because I have such bad neuropathy. I was falling all the time. It got to the point where I actually was considering committing suicide because I couldn't take the pain anymore. So I talked to my friends, and they helped me find the right strain for pain to help with a lot of my pain symptoms that I was having. And it's made such a difference in my life. And I can't imagine not being here.
Yeah, and I have a similar one. I actually got into edibles because I had a good friend of mine. My daughter's actually one of my daughter's best friends. Mom's was passing from cancer. She had fought every type of cancer that I think a person could have. She had everything cut out, every body part taken that they could take. She drove from Boston, chemotherapy appointments, never missed a basketball appointment, never missed a cheer competition. She asked me to make some edibles when it was the end times, and that 13-year-old kid hugged me and said, "You gave me 3 more months with my mom." That was amazing. I recently ran into a oncology nurse who quit her job because somebody was refused chemotherapy because they were choosing to continue smoking cannabis. That's ridiculous. This is medicine that grows from the ground, that is given to us, and we should be taking full advantage of it. It can do so much better than the things that we're popping and that we're giving our kids. All these Tylenols and ibuprofens that when I have tests done, they tell me, "Oh, something's wrong with your liver." Well, that's funny. I don't drink, and I'm a pretty damn healthy eater. So, and this was before I smoked, and now I'm healthier. How did my test get better when I got off all of my medications? Off of the depression medications, managed hugging my family members and feeling love because the medications aren't blocking it anymore. It really is a gift, and we're doing as much as we can to spread the knowledge, teach people, help people, educate people on those things. And it was just a moment in time where we kind of all fell together at different times for different reasons. And I kept saying, like, "Oh my God, I'm nervous. I'm nervous. I'm always nervous." And something just keeps putting me back on this train. Something keeps saying, "Nope, this is where you're supposed to be, and this is what you're doing." So here I am on this panel, part of the Burn and Learn, which I'm honored to be on. And I'm going to keep trucking this track as long as I can.
Thanks, Jen. Yeah, activism has been a huge part of my life. I started following NORML probably around 2005, 2006. Around 2011, I started going into the NORML meetings. That's when the discussions and the laws were starting to get written for medical in Connecticut. Once those were written and changed by our lawmakers, that got going, and then I also got more involved into it. and became deputy director of Normal, Connecticut. I was around when pediatric medical came around, and that was a huge step for Connecticut. Then the whole fight for legalization and grow rights, which we're still fighting, still kind of a little bit. But pretty soon, July 1st, everybody 21 and over can grow cannabis at your house. It's a fantastic thing, which,
Without a medical card.
what a long battle.
Yes.
Long battle.
You can grow a tomato plant, you should be able to grow a pot plant.
Yeah.
Sorry.
People that grow tomato plants still go to the store and buy tomatoes.
Exactly.
Yeah. For whatever, you know. But it's coming along. The state has come a long way, and people, and even being here, I am amazed at the amount of people that are walking through out there today. There was literally people trying to come in here yesterday. Yep. I saw at least half a dozen people that I knew. A couple of them I knew that were, oh, it's not today.
I did see a lot of disappointed people though. They thought there was going to be cannabis.
Oh, yes,
So
yes.
They were some people were disappointed.
But that's about our purpose and what we got to deliver. You know, that's what we believe in.
And please check out our website, our Instagram. You know, if you have any questions, shoot over an email, shoot a call, whatever it is, and we will do whatever we can to help.
We definitely we do comedy nights, all kinds of different events too.
Oh my God, we did a comedy night. It was amazing.
We do
Amazing.
murder
Really,
mystery,
really fun.
murder mystery infused dinner nights. What else do we have going on? Lots of classes, cooking, edibles. North Branford on Foxton Road.
Do you guys have any questions at all?
As far as what you're consuming for product, or as far as what we do with our everyday life? Well, for somebody like you, I would probably suggest, I know it sounds weird, but like a little microdose or something in the morning. Try to take the edge off before you go to work. Maybe take a 5 milligram edible or something, you know, and see how that makes you feel. Obviously, don't do it before you go to work, maybe. See, do it on Saturday, see how it makes you feel. Oh. Yeah, so cannabis microdose.
Wrong class.
We're talking about cannabis.
Different class, different class.
I have somebody that I know that he likes to get the 5 milligrams, they're called T5s from the dispensaries, and he thinks they're perfect for his job. He just takes it in the morning, takes the edge off on him a little bit, you know, it doesn't make him lethargic or tired or anything, and it works for him, you know, but everybody's different, you know. You can get like a syringe, distillate syringe, to where you're going to dose it out accordingly to yourself. You know, so maybe you just want to put a little rice ring on your finger, so it's like maybe a 2.5 instead of a 5. CBD, like that, love CBD.
Just enough to take the edge off. You know, it's not going to give you the psycho effects of THC, but it definitely works with calming, stress relief for sure. Just like I said, take that edge off. Make the day go a little bit smoother.
Do you have children? No, so just the high stress job. Okay, well, I can only relate with my children. So, oh, yes, especially with the 18-year-old. So my kids are 18 down to 5 or 6. Sorry, now 6. So my biggest problem is if I'm the only parent home. If I'm the only parent home, obviously it's micro dosing on those small amounts. I generally choose edibles, so there's no smell. Small little amounts that don't give you those effects in your head, but give you that relaxation. So finding, and again, not a doctor, trial and error has been how I do things. when I make things for people, I always say this is what we're going to start with. Okay. Don't ever send yourself to the moon. Don't go buy somebody's brownie and say, well, I ate this before work and I had this horrible experience. Okay. It's happened on my own stuff sometimes. But so starting on something and staying consistent with a person who knows what you're looking for, wants to work with the products that you want to consume, and then you start at a very low dose, and each day is a new day. So if that first day doesn't work, scrap that whole day. Second day, you're going to have just a tiny bit more. And you're going to go probably about 10 days, you know, depending on where you are, until you find what works good for you. And then once you know what works good for you, you just continue with that regimen. And that'll take away the stress, but it's not going to overpower you into a sense of like your coworkers are going to look over and be like, she's not okay. That, or you're going to destroy somebody's lunch out of the refrigerator and they're going to be like, that was my food. So yeah. So you just want to low dose in small increments, dispensaries. If you have a friend, if you know somebody that can help you out, reach out, but just go really slow until you find your area of, because unfortunately everybody is different. Smoking, I have so many people that come to me and say, oh, I smoke all the time. That has nothing to do with it. It's a completely different chamber of where it's going. And everybody is different. So you can have a 6'2", 300-pound guy that takes a 5 milligram gummy and is a little out of it, where his 100-pound wife, who's 4'2", can go and eat 100 milligrams and she's in an okay place. So everybody is different. So don't ever judge it on, it's how your body reacts to the medicine. So you have to find, and that's why I tell people, go slow, waste the first couple of days until you find what works, and then continue on.
Never subtract.
Yes. Well, for 6 hours.
Yes.
So I did keep it secret for a very long time. So my oldest daughter, 18, I got postpartum depression severely after having her. I had a relapse after every other child. It was always treated with antidepressants and anxiety medication. My oldest daughter saw the relapses, and there was times when I would spend a week on the couch crying or emotional. I started, I don't have the best relationship with my mother, but there is one thing that she always did right, and that was always told me the truth. So when I decided that I was going to start using cannabis, at first it was in the closet, and then I decided that they started to know. Well, what's that? You know, and then it was kind of like, well, why are these things in the safe? So it became, at that point, I think around 14, I think 13, 14 is when I finally just said, this is what this is. It's medicine. It actually came down to the DARE paper my kids got sent home from school, where they had to choose where the marijuana leaf went. And I said, it goes with the Tylenol. I was wrong. I don't think I was. The teacher thought I was wrong. So that is when I kind of explained to my children what it was, how some people thought it was still illegal and should always be illegal. And I thought, no, this isn't right, because my daughter sees me doing a science project till 2 a.m. with her, building the most amazing solar system I have ever built. And I wouldn't have been able to do that before. Having the focus for my kids' homework when they needed help, when I have 4 other children running around and screaming, wasn't there. Cannabis allows that to be there. So I finally just came clean and told my kids, said, this is what it is. And as I got more and more into the community, my children kind of just adapted towards it and understood what it is. And I still personally don't smoke in front of them. They know that I, just because I don't want them to confuse it with cigarettes. So I don't like to smoke. My 18-year-old has seen me smoke. and my 16-year-old. My 14 and 13 have not, but they do know that I eat edibles, and that they are locked in my safe. So they know that. And I've had my 18-year-old tell me that if I needed to take 5 minutes in the bathroom, that I could go and handle myself. When I was a little high strung one day. So it's been an open communication, it's been open talking, and they know the responsibilities of it. That's been huge for me. I have an 18-year-old. She goes to parties. She drinks. I want that open communication. I want to know what she's eating, where she's getting it. So I have been asked, and I have given my 18-year-old a joint. She went to a party. I didn't want her getting it from anybody else. I knew mine was safe. I gave it to her. I was her ride there. I was her ride home. We have, and I think instilling that in the kids is super important, understanding the safeties of where their stuff is coming from and not just taking something from a kid at the party and consuming it, whether that be alcohol or any type of substance.
So my daughter's 21 and my son is 16. So in my house, when my daughter had started high school, I have a rule, there's no alcohol in my house. Like, they cannot drink. So I always had a very open communication with them about it, and they always knew the same way, you would take a Tylenol, or it's medicine. It's just what you have. I think that kids today are more curious about it. So that's something that we've talked about in a program that is opening that communication. I know, especially post-COVID, dealing with all the stressors with kids, there's a huge need to have that where, I'm trying to articulate it. The kids that are suffering with the depression need to know about different resources, and they also need to know at what age it's appropriate to start. How is cannabis going to affect your brain as you're growing and maturing?
I can't agree with you more on that statement because your brain's not fully developed. And a lot of adolescent teens that do tend to use cannabis, they have more psychotic episodes in their life later in life because they consume cannabis at such a young age. So that's why there is age limitations. Even to get your medical card, you can be 18 in the state of Connecticut, not 16, not 15.
No, you can't. We have pediatric.
Pediatric care.
Oh.
I'm sorry to say that.
They,
Oh, they can't.
yeah, terminal.
Well, that's a good thing. But still, I mean, it's all in the parents' discretion, I feel like. It's all what you feel is the best for your household, right? That's how I handle it. My daughter knows the difference between medicine and what is the danger. Like if I have edibles, she's going to know that that's my medicine that I consume, just like she said, that's locked in the safe. And that's important that your daughters and your sons, that they know that, because God forbid if they were to go consume it, and if it was an edible, they're going to have a bad time with that. It's not going to be good. So that's why we're responsible parents. We keep our stuff locked up. My daughter, she's only 4, but she knows, it's crazy to say, but she knows it's medicine. She said, "Oh, Daddy, you got your medicine?" "Yes, man. You can never touch this. You got to be careful with it, okay?" Mm-hmm. But that's what we're here for. We're here to educate not only you guys, but we're here to educate our kids. Because my daughter's my everything. I don't want, maybe she doesn't want to consume pot one day. Maybe that's her choice. That's not my choice of whether or not she's going to take that edible or take that joint, right? So, but if she wants to one day, that's on her. It's not going to be on me. Oh, that's the way I look at it.
Well, you just recently had this conversation.
Yes. So
Last
I
week.
have 2 daughters. They are 13 and 15, and they started smelling cannabis on me probably back in 2020. And they would ask me if I was smoking cigarettes, and I'd say no. And they'd be like, "You're lying, I can smell it." So I came clean with my medical card, and I told them I had my card. And the way I explained it to them is because at that time it was still illegal. So in their eyes, it was a drug. I said to them, a lot of how some kids take Adderall for their ADD, but some other people who don't need it take it. It does something else for them. I said, Mommy takes medical marijuana because it is my medication, just like you take your Adderall and you take it and it helps you to focus. This is my medication for what I need it for. Now, if you were to take my medication or I were to take yours, we might have different, I'm totally messing this up. I'm so sorry. I'm so nervous. Pretty much like you can, just as somebody can abuse medication, Adderall, your friends could take somebody else's Adderall and, now they're getting a high from it, whereas you take it and you can focus and you can do your work. It's similar. So I have tents. I have a veg tent and a flower tent. And I keep my tents. I put locks on them so they can't get in my tents. I have all of my medication is kept in a safe. It's fingerprint, so there's no way they can even find a key or anything. And they know that that's my medicine for what I need it for. And for some people, it's a drug.
And it's funny to think, like, you think your kids are so innocent. And it's really funny to me to think that my son is 13 years old in 8th grade and was offered cannabis at a party. And it's not like I dropped him off at a rager. I mean, it was a birthday party. Like, their parents were somewhere on the property. And so I think having that openness and having that conversation is so huge. And I think so many people, and like, that's what I go back to, that in the closet feeling.
Well, how old were you when you started smoking?
28 years old. And I did nothing before that. Nothing. I did try cigarettes in high school. I don't drink. I have done no drugs. I had a bad experience with a stepfather and a lot of drugs, and I just chose to not have it part of my life. So I always associated in my brain that cannabis was the same as cocaine. It was the same as heroin. It was the same as everything. It was going to change. And it was actually my husband who came to me and said, "You're on all these antidepressants." And well, like I said, I'm an open book. So I want to be honest. I didn't want to have sex. My relationship was hurting. My kids, they'd hug me. I should love this. I should feel this. I felt nothing. I didn't laugh. I didn't cry. I was neutral all the time. And it hurt every part of my relationships. And finally, we got into a huge fight, and he said, "Well, damn, you just need to smoke some pot." And I was like, I'm never going to be that person. Look at me now. And still to this day, he'll say it, and I'll be like, I'm a hypocrite. As I go to my master bathroom and I enjoy 5 minutes with the fan on and the window open, and then I come out and I make a banging dinner. We have a great mashed potato fight at the table. We have dessert, and then I work on homework. And that's how it changed my life. And I see so many people that are scared to say they smoke cannabis. Why their person next to them will drown a bottle of wine in front of their children and drive them home. To me, that's just, how come I can't go outside and smoke the joint for 5 minutes so that I can feel better? Not being able to pick up my toddler for 6 months when I had a pulled disc. And it was, well, Mommy, I want to be held. Mommy, I want to be cuddled. And I couldn't lift without severe pain, but I could smoke a little bit and I could carry that child around on my hip all day long. It's changed my family. And even coming out to my grandparents, basically, and saying, "Hey, surprise, yes, I'm a cannabis smoker now. And, oh, I make edibles." And about 6 months ago, my grandmother asked me for some. Never saw that coming either. But it changes things. And when my best friend, pot smoker, 10 years, didn't even know it. She thought I was too tight and a little snooty on the subject, so never brought it up. I was friends with somebody for 10 years and didn't know they were a pot smoker. And now I make her brownies.
And we have at our community center, there'll be special events. And one night we looked around, there were 7 people from the PTA in there. I was like, oh my gosh. We're like, the meetings, that's actually how Tasha and I met. So the meetings could be a lot more fun if we would just open up and just be honest and really work to change the stigma. Are there any questions you guys have? I think we have like 2 minutes.
Anybody want to come to the Burn and Learn Center? It's a pretty cool place.
In North Branford, Connecticut, We have our booth at 626 over there if you want to come. 625 or 626?
It's the big one. It's the big one by the short bus with the plants in it.
It is directly across from the plant house, though. But you can come get some more information there. We have a little demonstration going on there at 3. A little cloning, right? Cloning
Yes, we're going to do a cloning demonstration.
Not live cloning demonstration, but it'll be
Plastic plant.
Thanks for coming, everybody.
Thanks for listening.
Thank you.